All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Commissioners Court on December 22, 2014, our last Commissioners Court meeting of the year. So at this time, it's 6 o'clock. We've got, I'm expecting one other person, but he may trickle in just a moment. If you'll stand with me so we can have our prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we pause to thank you for this special time of the year as we celebrate the birth of your Son, Christ. And we just ask, Lord, that our hearts and minds would be focused on that as we leave this meeting, that we would enjoy this time with friends and with family, that we would be safe and just enjoy this time of the season. We're thankful, Lord, for those that are gathered here tonight. We pray for an efficient, effective, and positive meeting. We just, again, pray for our servicemen and women who are away from home this time of the year. Christmas is tough. And we just remember them. We thank you for them and for the freedom that they provide for us. Lord, give us wisdom. Grant us the ability to make the proper decision that is best in each particular situation. Thank you for the men that serve on this court. Thank you for Commissioner Hockaday as he takes part in his last Commissioner's Court. We just thank you for his service. We just ask your blessings upon him and his family. We pray it all in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, once again, for the record, tonight is December 22, 2014. This is our second meeting of the month and our last meeting of the year, I believe, and we will begin with item 1, public comments or requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meetings Act. I've got a couple of speakers that have requested to address specific items on the agenda. Does anyone have a comment at this time during public comments? All right, we'll move on to item number 2, consider and possibly approve minutes from our December 8th, 2014 regular meeting of Commissioners Court.
I'd like to make a motion, Judge, we accept the minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hockaday. All those in favor of approval of those minutes say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Joyce, for getting those done. Item number 3, status report for Titus County pass-through projects. Let me just briefly run down this. It's getting shorter these days. Construction on US 271. Come on in. Williams Brothers Construction Project, finishing up the final documents to submit to TxDOT and processing the balancing pay estimate in order to be able to close out the project. We are days away from that. I just spoke with Jenny and Mark with PTP. On FM 1000, where we are still at work, James Construction Group has been paid $16,900,000 to date, about 88.89% of the project done, 383 days of contract time that was extended by 43 days for a total of 426 days. Those days have been used up as of December the 19th. Things that are going on. Dirt crew is dressing slopes, ditches, and headers, getting ready for some seeding to be done. They continue to work on FM 1735 and 2348 intersections. Speaking of those, FM 1735, the asphalt's finally complete. Waiting on weather to cooperate so striping can be completed. Striping was scheduled for today, but this morning we were informed that the subcontractor went on vacation for the holidays. FM 2348, also the asphalt is complete, and same story. We are waiting on stripers who were supposed to be there today, we thought, but lo and behold, they announced that they are on vacation. So hopefully we'll have a decent day of weather to finish the striping on the project that was supposed to be done by Thanksgiving. The bridge crew is working to correct imperfections in the traffic rail at Hart Creek. They're pouring concrete riprap, mowing strips, placing rock riprap at all the cross culverts. The concrete paving crew is scheduled to pour the last small amount of concrete in the next week on City Street. Signal crew is pouring drill shaft foundations and placing conduit for the signals. The pipe crew is scheduled to place the last 2 driveway culverts and start construction on the concrete medians at US 271 after the first of the year. Southwest Environmental is supposed to place seed on 2348 next week and start pouring small sign foundations after the first of the year. T-bar fence is scheduled to install the fencing at the railroad for the protection of the railroad next week. The seal coat crew, of course, is shut down until next May due to the weather limitations. Note here from PTP. The staff at PTP realizes that a lot of work stays scheduled or rescheduled, but this is what we are told in the progress meetings. Unfortunately, some work starts on schedule, and a lot of times it's delayed due to weather conditions or some other issue related with the contractor or the subcontractor. I've given you copies, Commissioners, of the latest email that PTP sent to Pat with James Construction expressing his frustration that he can't even get a return phone call to tell them why they haven't completed the striping work at our 2 major intersection roads, Union Hill and Chapel Hill Road. And as of 5 o'clock today, he had still not gotten a returned call or email. Any questions or comments about anything loop related at this time that I can get an answer for you on?
I'd like to thank the Sheriff's Department for their patrolling that out there. I understand they've made some stops and gave some tickets, and they appreciate that. It saves them a lot of work when they...
All right. Anything else?
No, they've made a big difference down there.
Good. All right. Items number 4, 5, and 6. As you'll recall, last meeting we were speaking about the contract renewal with Cabro Technologies to provide our IT services. We tabled that, and I just thought it was would be a good thing if I was to bring to you some other businesses that, with the help of net data and with some connections through previous contacts and through the City of Mount Pleasant, I've got 3 companies tonight that would like to make a brief presentation to you, at least tell you a bit about their company, the services that they offer, why they feel like they could handle the job of our IT servicing company. And again, you heard the comments from Cabro and you heard the recommendation from the IT committee, but nonetheless, this is a large contract and we want to be sure that we give other companies that are capable ample consideration and see if they might be suitable prospects for this big job that's provided by the county. So I've got 3 gentlemen that are here tonight, and I'm grateful to have each of you guys here. Daniel and Curtis and Chris, welcome. I'll let you introduce yourselves. And we'll go, Daniel, if you're ready, I'll let you go first. It's just because I've got you on the agenda in that order. So come on up there and be sure that microphone is adjusted to the height that you would like, and you may begin.
Can I hand these out real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
The back you'll find some references. The rest of it's just a standard contract that outlines services that we offer, costs and so forth, and I'll kind of go over those with you. Well, probably very similar to Cabro Technologies. We offer similar services: IT consulting, budgeting, asset management, network management, procurement, and so forth. So in the past, we found that we do things a little bit different than some other IT companies in the fact that we don't try to be the company who sells you your equipment. We want to be your IT department. So they may do that. I'm not sure. I'm not here to go one for one or anything. Just want to kind of present ourselves, the things that we offer, let you know a little bit about us. So we have 20 people on staff. 17 of those are technicians. 2 of those are part-time that work outside of this East Texas area. So I don't want to mislead you like they're all right here, but the majority of them are in the East Texas area. We have one who's here at Mount Pleasant 40 hours a week, and then we also route a couple other gentlemen up throughout the week to help with other things going on at the city. We currently maintain all of the city's IT services, have for 6 years as Absolute Technology, and prior to that, 2 years when I worked with another company, I took care of all of their services. So familiar with local government. We also take care of Panola County over in Carthage. We've taken care of their services for the last 4 years, and we just re-renewed our contract with them for a 4-year term. Again, I don't want to bore you with a bunch of details. Obviously, you guys have an IT committee. You guys have been using K-Bro. And out of the chute here, I would say if you guys are happy with them, don't switch to me, okay? But the last thing I want to do is be the guy who comes in after you're really happy with somebody and try to fill those shoes. If it's a few dollars or whatever, I would say it's well worth your money spent staying with the company that you're with if they're doing a good job for you. On the other hand, though, if there's some concerns and things like that throughout the county, like, you know what, maybe it'll do a little better, then that's when I would advise you to start looking. But again, we have, as far as us, we have guys from all over the spectrum. We have guys who used to work in education, guys who used to work for private sector companies, Martin Gas, Pilgrim's Pride, and so forth, some, Laterno University. So what we feel we bring to the table is a diverse cross-section of IT services. We've got guys who have done things differently, not because there's a right or wrong way, just because the situation they were in, and we take all of that cumulative knowledge of those 17 guys and try to build upon that. We don't want to ever approach any of our clients and go, you know what, this is exactly what the county needs because this is what we do at Panola County. That doesn't make sense. We want to take your issues, your problems, look at those and address those accordingly within the budget that you have, within the constraints of the technology I guess skill set that your staff and your employees have. Never want to come in and implement something that just doesn't fit the bill. So we also offer web services. We have 4 web developers and graphic designers. Not that you guys need a whole lot of graphic design, but when those things come up and you need assistance there or you need things done, we have that avenue available to us. So again, I don't want to bore you with the details. I mean, we are an IT services company. We handle all aspects of IT, anything from servers to routers to day-to-day desktop support to your website maintenance to coordination with your internet service provider, which is Suddenlink, to working with net data. Now, I will concede, I did when I talked to Judge Lee earlier, is that there's no way I would ever come to you guys and step up and say, you know what, I'm going to be able to provide better services knowing net data as well as K-Bro Technologies does. I know a lot of those guys come from the net data background and they know that system very well. So again, I would say that unless you're extremely unhappy or you feel like, you know what, we're just kind of getting average support, just table mine, keep it for future reference and go, you know what, we'll look at them if things come up and we're not happy. But I would never advise you and even want you to consider switching if you're happy. Again, we have I think some really great references. I don't think there's anything here that you do that we can't handle. But again, if you're happy, I don't want to try to fill those shoes. So I really wanted to come tonight. I told Judge Lee I wanted to be, up front and just say, look, I wanted to introduce myself. If you guys decide you need to look for someone else, we're available. You know where we're at. We're down here at the city. We're at Parker Trailer. So we've done some work in the area. So, but that's it. My name's Daniel Knight, Absolute Technology. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those questions.
And by the way, I got Daniel's name from the city of Mount Pleasant, and Mike and Brenda speak very well of Daniel and his company. And so I knew that he was familiar with our area and had people in the area. And so that's one of the reasons that he is here. So note on their references the city of Mount Pleasant as being one of their clients. What all do you do for the city of Mount Pleasant? Full service? Full service.
We handle every aspect of their technology. We coordinate with the police department, fire department, the wastewater, water management, every service that they have with the service center over on Washington, I think it is, and then also with the Civic Center. So anything that they have throughout the city, I mean, we've advised or helped to make sure that we get what's necessary, whether it's just coordinating the project. And a lot of times that's what it is. They have third-party vendors that are bringing in the software or the hardware. So for instance, right now at the police department, they're bringing in body cams. And so we don't write body cam software, we don't provide body cams, but our job is to make sure the body cams work for the police officers, can connect to their network, can download the data, download the video, and that we have, the proper, hardware in place to be able to keep that for the time frame the police chief sees fit. Our other responsibilities are for all the police vehicles and fire vehicles to make sure they're connected. Their iPads and laptops are connected in the vehicles. Again, we make sure that everybody can work remotely, those who want to work remotely. They probably have about 15, maybe 20 third-party vendors that we work with. It just depends on what department. None of them do the same thing the same way. The police department has 3 or 4 vendors. The fire department has 2 or 3. The annex building, they have their own suite of software that they use for the jobs that they need to do. So we have the ability and the knowledge and know-how to interface with any of those people and work and make sure that at the end of the day, the city can do the job that they need to do, which is what they hire us to do. Again, we're not a software provider. There are companies out there that provide their software very similar to NetData and other services that you guys use in-house. So again, our job is to interface with them, interface with the local staff, and make sure that everything comes together and the project turns up right.
Would you just hit on your pricing structure here?
Sure.
And I haven't had time to study this very carefully,
Okay.
but I see on here a maximum amount. Kind of explain how this would work and if this is...
Well, one of the things that we know is true for the county is you guys set a budget, and so we base our contract based on units that we are going to service throughout the year. This particular one is an unlimited contract, which means exactly that. Outside of construction, which we don't do cable pulling and such because I have to have different types of insurance for that to get up on ladders, to get up in the ceilings and so forth. And again, I can't budget those unless you already know ahead of schedule, hey, we're going to build a building over here. So we exclude a few things, again, strictly more from a workers' compensation standpoint. If you guys say, hey, I want you guys to start moving heavy desks, and I've got guys who they don't have back braces and anything, that's not what we're hired to do. We're hired to do technology stuff. So there's a few exclusions, but mainly they're there just because we've had companies in the past go, oh, it's an unlimited, we'll have you clean the floors. No, it's a technology contract. It's a technology services. So we've had to put those in there just as a buffer. But it is an unlimited contract. We got numbers from the judge of 140 computers and 21 servers. We base all of our figures based on that. All of the peripheral devices that you guys have, we don't really take those into account because we know those exist in every network, every system that we support. But we know the bulk of the support is going to come from these devices right here. So that's where our calculations come from. So we key that in. There's a price there per unit, and then there's also an add-on services. Now, those add-on services can be removed if you've already purchased those or you're purchasing those through some cooperative where you get a better rate. Again, we're not trying to be that, but a reseller of services, but we have to include those if we're going to be an unlimited contract provider. If you guys say, you know what, we want unlimited support, we're like, hey, we're game for that, but we want to make sure there's some things in place, some protection for the network. So the add-on services are your content filtering, they're your virus protection. They're things that you don't have to buy as a county any longer. Those are included. Email filtering, all of those things are included because if I'm on the hook for unlimited hours, I need to know that there's adequate protection here in the county to keep you from being infected by viruses. And if I have 140 computers get taken down at one time because the county says, hey, we don't really want to buy an antivirus, don't budget for that this year, but I'm on the hook for unlimited hours, that's really bad for me. I become a firefighter just putting out fires every day. That's not good for you and your staff because your job is to get a job done. And if you're waiting on me to come and clean up a computer that's been infected by a virus or spyware or malware and they can't do their job, that's when productivity comes down. That's when people get unhappy. It doesn't matter how much you like me at that point. If you can't do your job, then people start getting really frustrated. So we've built into the unlimited these services that we have to have in place in order to provide an unlimited contract. Otherwise, I'm just going to, burn through hours again if the client, you guys, were to say, we don't want content filtering, we don't want antivirus protection, we'll just kind of go it and shoot from the hip. That doesn't work for an unlimited, and so that's why we include those. So again, if you've got those budgeted right now, that's included in our contract because we require those. So again, as you have more units, the price per unit goes down. We start giving discounts. And so you start off at $65 a unit, and then we add the $5 for add-on services, comes out $70 a unit. And then as you go down, the list there, it starts getting cheaper and cheaper per unit. It starts giving you discounts. So where this helps is the Sheriff's Department says, hey, you know what, we're going to add 15 more computers. What would that do to our next year cost if you were breaking this out by department, so to speak? The Sheriff's Department could take a look at the contract and go, well, next year, if I add 15, it's going to cost me X amount per computer to add those to my contract. So you can start budgeting for those ahead of time. So it allows you as a county to make budgets and make decisions on your expansions without having to go, well, I wonder if that's going to cost me any more or less. So the same thing goes that, hey, we're going to remove some computers. This contract would go down as you remove computers because we're supporting fewer devices. So that's how the price matrix works there. We do have an acceptable use policy. I'm going to guess as a county you probably have one, but if you don't, then we have one that we require. Again, it just says that, hey, if the judge says, you know what, I don't want all these protection services, I'm going to do my own thing, and his computer continuously gets infected, then we have the option to go, hey, we've got to charge an overage because judge keeps taking off the antivirus and malware. Not that he would, but just as an example. He keeps taking off the things that will protect him from being infected with viruses and malware, and we have to charge an overage at that point. It just stipulates that in the acceptable use policy that these things have to be in place. Again, most of it's there for your protection. You guys have sensitive data. You have people's social security numbers and information that you probably just don't want out there. You have budgets. You have access to bank accounts and so forth. Again, it's there for protection, not for just limiting people. And again, that's why we include it. So. If you decide, you know what, we do want some of these services are included, we would like you guys to move our furniture from point A to point B. We're happy to help you with that. We have a rate in there for that, but generally you can find someone to do it cheaper than our rate to do that. Again, we just have it in there because we don't have workers' compensation out there for people climbing up 20-foot ladders and moving furniture up and down stairs and so forth. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, you can ask any questions you like of Daniel.
Where did you get that 140?
That was from the judge.
Didn't think we had but 120 total employees.
I asked for an update from KBRO, and those are the figures they gave me, 140 computers and 21 servers.
So, again, if that does turn out different and you want the updated price, I can quickly get that to you. Like I said, that's just using the numbers I was given.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Daniel, thank you very much. We appreciate your putting this together on short notice. All right, we'll move on to item number under 5. Curtis Welch. Curtis, come on up if you like.
Okay, so I'm Curtis Welch with Kookaburra Technology, and my proposal now is going to be a little different than the other proposals that you're going to hear. We're a technology company, not an IT company, and there's a bit of a subtle difference there in that as a company we don't provide IT services for people. We started out doing web development and technology consulting, and then moved into game development, and we've been doing online game development for the past few years. Some industry stuff has come up in our little sector of the world, and business has gone down, so we're looking to diversify a little bit. Everything that we're going to provide for the county here is services that we provide for ourselves. We have over 300 virtual servers. We do conventions twice a year and run 50 or 60 network computers together, provide on-site IT services for those. We run a web server that gets tons of internet traffic. And our approach to basically the county's IT services is that we can provide proactive monitoring and redundancy to these computers, and basically save us a lot of work and the county a lot of money. And so that's pretty much our proposal. I've done a ton of research over the past couple of weeks, going through old documents, proposals submitted, and basically we can offer the county, basically in 2015, our rate would be $56,500, and in 2016, $50,500. And the difference there is just basically we have to do a bunch of setup in 2015. Set up installing, migrating email, migrating websites, doing physical checkups on all the computers to make sure they're in peak running condition. A little background about our company. We are local. Like I said, we're a technology company. We are a distributed company, so that I am currently the only employee here. If we get this contract, we'll hire another employee here locally. But we have currently 5 total employees, but those employees are spread across the world, actually. We have an IT guy, customer support, website, systems architecture. And basically we take all those people together and we provide solutions for you guys to make things run smoothly and save you guys money. Anybody have any questions?
Let me just read through here, Curtis.
Absolutely.
What's the website modernization currently uses technology called Frames, which has been obsolete for over 10 years?
Yeah, the county website's kind of terrible.
Is that our website or NetData?
That's your website, the county's website. Use it. I mean, it's super old. It was at a date when I started doing web development 10 years ago.
And I really don't know who designed our website. Do you know?
Oh, no, I have no idea.
Does anybody know how long we've had that website?
Paper, we did it whenever we got rid of the ones from Texas. From Longview, excuse me.
Longview Technology.
From Longview. They were doing it, and we got
I just,
They said they're the one, Longview set it up.
Longview set it up.
And then,
do you have any idea how old it would be?
gosh, it's 7 or 8 years, I'm thinking, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Curtis, off the top of my head, I can't think of any specific questions I've got. I'm reading over this. So it looks like initially you would expect your hours to be about 160 during that first month, but I guess through gaining efficiencies, et cetera, by mid-year you would think that you could get by on
About 80 hours a month, yeah.
about 80 hours a month. Okay.
Yeah, and those first ones are, it's setting up online automated backups, which there's a huge benefit to that, and you back up daily incrementally, and so Trojan horse gets into the computer somewhere, and there's a big disaster, and we don't find out till a week later that all your data is corrupt. We can go back to exactly a week later and restore all those backups.
Okay.
Like security, we just paid for to get all of our use security, or like, it wasn't Norton, it's malware, I believe.
Antivirus.
Yeah, if you, is that included in the price? Is it in the absolute, that's included, but.
It is not. I have it down here in additional IT expenses that would fall under software purchases. Though personally, I prefer Microsoft Security Essentials, which is a free antivirus software made by Microsoft. And the reason I prefer that is paid antivirus typically is super annoying, because Norton pops up and wants you to know, hey, I'm doing something, hey, I'm doing something, hey, I'm doing something. So that you know, hey, Norton's doing something, so I'm going to renew my contract. Whereas if they just hid in the background, you wouldn't think about it and be like, oh, they're not doing anything. Whereas Microsoft, since they provide their software for free, they do everything in the background and only actually tell you if something's actually wrong. So I would actually prefer to go that route rather than Norton. And Microsoft's name's at stake, so they're going to put a lot of innovation into their antivirus. So it's as good as Norton, but it's free and less annoying.
All right, anyone else have a question for Curtis?
Thank you, guys.
Curtis, thanks for your time. I appreciate you putting this together on short notice. All right, presenter number 3, Chris Custer with AOS. Chris, come on up.
Hi, my name is Chris Custer with Alexander Open Systems. I do not have a handout for you because I'm going to go a little bit different direction here. Alexander Open Systems is a large company with offices throughout the United States. I have 19 separate locations. I've just opened an office in East Texas. I have offices in Addison as well as Fort Worth, and we're in the process of opening in Austin, San Antonio, and Houston as well. We are a large corporation that concentrates primarily on the big portion of your security and data operations. For example, we take care of the Kansas City Chiefs. We take care of about 30 counties in Kansas and another 20 counties in Missouri. I work with Smith County here in town. I work with Wood County here in town, in the area. We are concentrated on and focused in on security and data security. Our main concern is that you have the latest and greatest technologies that are merged together in a safe, efficient manner with a redundant system to prevent you from disastrous impacts. You've all seen in the news things like Sony and the new direction that hacking is going. What I'm going to recommend to you here today is not to hire me for your day-to-day work. I'm not that guy. What I am is I'm a security consultant. And I can look at the big picture about what you have, what you're not doing, and figure out the best course of action for you. Those different companies that are working on desktop, I know that you've had good experiences with your existing vendor, and the desktop is another breed and another type of technology services. But what I can do and what I can provide is to make sure that all those new technologies, particularly the ones that the new software for criminal justice are coming out with, the new requirements coming down from the state of Texas, the new software for a lot of your process flow within your business, all of those things I've taken into account, and more than likely I've worked with those companies. I've worked with those software developers. And we take into account and do a widespread analysis of what you are doing here and how to make you safe. So what I'm recommending is for us to take some time and talk about a security analysis. And not just about hackers, but the entire system. How's your data? Is it safe? What happens in the event of flood, tornado, whatever the disasters might be? And look at your risk assessment and do it in a business manner. Not just say, oh, you need a backup. I'm going to actually put a dollar figure to it and say, hey, here's if you don't have a backup, how much it's going to cost you to get back to where you were. Here's a dollar figure of what it's going to take if you do get hacked. It is a full return on investment type of analysis that you would do at any Fortune 500 company, and which we have done at those types of companies. So I would say to take pause, and maybe this is a good opportunity as you're choosing maybe to stay put with who you are, or to choose a new vendor, this would be the opportunity to do an analysis overall of what the county is doing in comparison to other counties, and have a cooperative discussion with other counties, which I can broker and bring together, and find out, are you safe, are you doing the right things, and are you set up for the future? So, no, I'm not your guy for day-to-day operations, but I know how to keep things safe, and I know how to move technology into the future with new softwares. Does anybody have any questions I might be able to answer? I didn't throw out any brand names or anything like that. I wanted to keep it general and generic, but what questions can I answer for you?
Where are you located at?
My office is in Tyler, Texas. I have new engineers who are coming online in Tyler, but I have 5 engineers in the Dallas office and another 4 engineers in the Fort Worth office. All of my engineers are fully certified in whatever they're working on. Most of them are master's degree education in computer technology because they're working on big dependable systems, and they've all cleared all their background checks so they can work deep into 911 districts, into criminal justice platforms, and handle that data and be in full compliance.
Do you have any references or names in Smith County or Wood County?
Absolutely, I can give you a full list of that. I think Judge Lee, I think we have some documents coming to you that has all those, but I'm right now in the middle of redoing Smith County's exchange project for their email systems and archiving to make them compliant with the new rules that are coming out. I'm also working with their new criminal justice software, and at the same time I'm helping them to design their new physical infrastructure, their switching and their servers, and moving them from an old stack of servers to virtualized environments and even virtualized desktop environments. So I help them consult through the whole process, and I'll be happy to get you those references.
Tell the court what you're doing with MPISD.
Oh, we work with a lot of different school districts. That's one of the things that we do. I personally have been, while we just opened this office, I personally have been in the East Texas marketplace for about 8 years, concentrating on government and K-12. So I'm doing much of the things that I just described to you. I'm doing that with Mount Pleasant Independent School District right now. We are helping them with SharePoint, which is an information sharing project that passes information and process flows within the school district. We're also helping them with Exchange and virtualized servers and virtualized desktops, as well as a complete security audit to make sure that they're safe and secure and all of their student and teacher data is protected. And we do that also for large school districts such as Tyler ISD and a lot throughout the state, but all over the country we have those type of relationships. In fact, we're doing a program right now, a security analysis, just like I'm proposing to you, to Tyler Junior College, and assessing all of their needs, and we're at the recommendation phase about what things they need to make changes on, and are proceeding from there.
Do you have a business card?
I will get you all. I'll get you all my information or email over to you. Depending on how deep and what you want to do, I would want to sit down and discuss what you're really looking for, because I do security analysis all the way from, do you have enough physical cameras in your building, all the way down to, can we prevent those hackers from getting in the door? So I have a lot of services and a lot of things available, and I'll get you a menu of those services so that you can see them.
Okay, so if we want to talk to you, we probably should postpone that discussion until after we make this initial decision, because you're really not interested in being part of this initial decision, and you've kind of explained why.
One thing that I can do is, if you have a relationship that you're comfortable with, I'm more than happy to work with another company to partner and divvy up the appropriate pieces of the puzzle. A lot of the things that I might identify as a problem, they might be within their wheelhouse of things that they can correct or do. And if you already have a contract with somebody, I don't want you to pay me to do something you already have somebody under contract to do. But they may not have the expertise or the knowledge of incoming laws and requirements to be able to have that foresight. And that's where I do have those resources. And maybe that might be, it would be great if we could do it before you sign a new contract, but if you need to, we'll be cooperative and work with any other contractor you have on. And I'll make sure I get copies of all that information to all of you.
I have no questions.
Mr. Harper raised his hand.
Okay, if you're going to comment, I need you up to here at the podium so we can get it on the recorder, or you can hand him a mic. Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
up from Tyler
Thank you,
tonight.
Chris.
Thank you.
He made a good presentation, but I was looking up here at everybody, and I see a lot up here that maybe not understand security. Anytime that computer is on, you're susceptible to being hacked. I don't care what kind of security measures are put into effect. People sit up day and night. Canada, outside this country, all of it, because I've helped pilot a multi-million-dollar one with SWEPCO and all years ago. These people can hack into a lot of it. He sounds very sincere. I like his presentation. I think he was pretty honest about it all. But I think y'all need to understand that no matter if you hire whoever, it's not 100%. There is no such way, unless you just never turned it on. But there's no such way as 100%. And I just think everybody needs to understand that before you make your decision on who you might use or whatever. He sounds very sincere. I think he's very knowledgeable. But you also, too many people don't have a clue about security, about a computer, and what the odds are. They can take your shirt, your everything in this world within 15 minutes if they want to. You can put security all you want to do, and it's great. You have to do that, and that's all you can do, but he failed to tell you that it's not 100% safe.
Are you offering a recommendation or just an observation?
No, I'm saying that it's better that all of you understand that there's still going to be like a 2 to 5 or so % chance of somebody hacking into it if they want to, even if you spend the money on the security, which you probably need to because you have to do what's best for the county. But people need to understand that you can't spend it on security and then walk away and think everything's going to be okay, because there's still that chance out there.
All right.
The only reason I brought it up is I happen to be familiar with computers.
Are you interested in consulting for the county? Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate you all being up here on the 22nd of December. Curtis, going back to yours, and I'll ask the same thing of Daniel here. You've given us some rates here and some hours. Are you suggesting that we would go into a contract with you? And here, Curtis, I'm asking you, on an hourly basis, would these be guaranteed rates? In other words, what would you need to know to be able to give us a firm budget? Because here you're projecting how many hours it would take. What if it actually took more or less than what you're projecting there?
The numbers here are just a reference.
Okay.
That is a firm rate.
Okay.
The numbers are just a general reference. Those are my estimates as to how much. If it goes over, then that's on me.
Okay.
It's guaranteed 40, at least, or no more than 40 hours a week. More than 40 hours a week, we go into overtime. But 40 hours a week.
Okay. So you would go into overtime?
Yes, if it's more than 40 hours per week. The only time it's even close to 40 hours per week is the first month.
Right.
So I don't anticipate having to go into overtime at all. If there's a major disaster and we have to do more than 40 hours a week, then up to the first 40 hours that week is covered, and then after that, overtime.
Okay. So like in February, if it took you 200 hours, there would be additional charges there.
Yes.
Okay. What about like in March where you're predicting 157 hours? What if it took you 200 hours then? It's still that you've locked us in at that rate that you think would take you 157 hours. I understand. Okay. Is there any other information that I can get for you that would enable you to, and are you comfortable with these figures? Do you feel like you have enough information?
Yes, I went around and talked to different offices and pulled up old records. I'm pretty confident.
Okay, so you're giving us a figure not only for 2015, but also for 2016 to cover the 2-year contract.
Yes.
Very good. Daniel, I'll kind of ask you the same thing. What information would you need, or could you even come up with a firm figure, an annual figure for 2015 and/or 16?
What we have is a contract that's firm, based on the number of computers and servers. We base ours based on strictly on units.
Okay.
There's no overages. If you got, the way we like to work ours is strictly unlimited. We don't want you to think about anything else the rest of the month, the rest of the year, the rest of the term. This is our price. And we know that there's going to be times that we go over. We know there's going to be times that you guys are closed and we're going to have a little bit less that week. My guess is you guys are going to close down this week or thereabouts. So we're probably not going to spend as much time out here supporting users. But we were okay with that, the weeks that we have overages, because we like to come out, say for instance you order 20 computers, we send out 10 people that get knocked out in a day or two, and then you got everybody's back to normal workload. So we're going to spend more hours that week, then everything goes back to an even keel. So that's what we think we bring to the table, the ability to bring in several techs that we need them, and then you have your assigned tech, and you just have day-to-day issues and monitoring.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, last chance. Any other questions for these fellows?
I don't have any.
And again, I asked them all to rush their presentations because we've got a looming deadline at the end of January. We don't have to make a decision tonight, but if they were available, and they all were, I wanted them to be able to talk to you, and if there was additional information that you wanted from them, give them some time before we made a decision where they could obtain that information for you.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all
rushing
very
to
much.
get it. And Judge, I'm going to make a motion that we table this till the first meeting in January.
Good. I appreciate you doing that because I think that that's appropriate. So that moves on into item number 7, consider and possibly approve a renewal of contract with KBRO for information technology services. We've been given a lot of information. I'd like to give you all some more time to take a look at that. And I will get you contact information for all of these guys. You can ask them whatever you would like. And if they can't answer the question and they need more information from us, we can exchange that information. So I have a motion. Did I have a second to table? Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of tabling item number 7 regarding the renewal of the contract with KBRO, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. We're going to be at least 3 weeks before we bring this up again. That'll be at our January 8th meeting. And again, if you think of anything that you want to ask me, please contact me, and I'll make sure these guys all have a contact for you. And at this time, if you would like to slip out, you're more than welcome to. We're very informal. I know you guys have got things to do. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, fellas.
All right, item number 8, consider and possibly approve the following improvement requests at the Health and Human Services Building, 303 East 11th. These came to us just one after another here over the last couple of weeks. They kept thinking of additional things that they wanted to do, and I'll preface it by saying all 4 of these items, A, B, C, and D, will be managed and funded by the state. So they're making some nice improvements to our building over there. Item A is to install a new air conditioning unit replacing an old 5-ton. One is to add an 8-foot sidewalk extension to help with some drainage issues they're having with some washout along that west exterior wall. Next is to install some additional insulation above the ceiling tiles to make the building more efficient. And then lastly, to install some security door hardware with entry keypads on 2 of the employee entrance doors to monitor who comes in, and I know you understand that. So,
Motion we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hockaday to allow them to do this work. Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of allowing these improvements at our 303 East 11th building, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And there are none. All right, item number 9, discuss proposed subdivision and plat regulations. Once again, I say this is a discussion. We are not making any decisions tonight. And I know Judy Kent would like to address the court on this matter in just 1 second. Let me tell you what I have done. I have provided copies of the document that we looked at 2 weeks ago. I did email that to key personnel with our local real estate companies, with, I know Judy's got a copy, with Redfern, with Century 21, with Remax, and with, who am I forgetting? Help me.
Judy, Rose,
She's got a copy. Remax, Century 21, and Redfern. Gosh, it seems like there was another one. And I haven't, and they got that a couple of weeks ago, and I have also sent what I could find in the way of any subdivision regulations that included rules for mobile homes and septic systems. Seem to be the things that we were focused on in the previous regulations that we have put together. But I cannot come up with a comprehensive list of subdivision regulations, and ours have been modified over the years on a couple of times. So I guess I'll start off, Judy, if you'd like to come on up and express your comments, and then commissioners, if you have any comments.
Okay, I'm basing this on the subdivision work that I have done here in the county. And what I took was the 16 pages that the regulations that they gave us. These regulations are written for city subdivisions and are not conducive to the rural application that we have here. For example, my dad was fire marshal at University Park in Dallas, and he bought 65 acres down here to retire on. He told each of his 3 kids, if you'd like an acre, I'll be happy to give you one. I took my acre, I built my house, and I beat him down here. He would have had to comply with these regulations and the extra expenses that they require. Brosico, originally over 42,000 acres. Over the past several years, they've been selling off to 2,000 acres here, 1,500 acres here, and under these regulations, this is a subdivision. And surveyors and engineers would have to jump through these hoops just like in a subdivision with small lots, according to these regulations. Hunting tracts sold around White Oak Creek and the Sulphur River bottom have no utilities with dirt roads that flood. The developer would have to submit a plan for providing utility service. A lot of hunting cabins down here use generators and haul their drinking water in. These regulations would not allow transporting water, and all the roads have to be paved. Fire plugs, filler plugs, or hydrants are required every 750 feet. So what about your larger 25-acre tracts? How can you require every 750 feet a fire plug? And what about the cost of all the larger water lines that are required? These costs would all be passed on to the developer. These regulations allow only 1 single-family dwelling per lot. So what if your lots are 10 acres or 100 acres? You can only have 1 house there. These regulations state that the developer must pay for the water meters. Tri-special meters run over $2,000 now. We usually pass these water meter costs on to the home buyer and let them purchase these. Subdivisions using wells must provide groundwater availability studies that are certified for 30 years. We've just been in a 10-year drought. Also, will fracking and the use of this extra water in the Talco area adversely affect the existing wells in the county? These regulations make no mention of private roads, but assume that the county will be accepting and maintaining all the roads. So I want you to think about the headaches and expenses of maintaining the county roads in the floodplains. You guys know how difficult this is. These regulations require bonding procedures, which we don't have now. These regulations will require more work for the commissioners and the developers. They'll cost our county and our developers more money, and they'll stifle the growth of the development within our county because of needless restrictions and requirements not necessary to rural development and progress. If you own raw land within the county, these could adversely affect your use of your own property. Those were the things I saw in the 16 pages that right off the bat caught my attention and the developer that I've been working with for the last 15 years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Did any of you get a chance to take a look at these, and does anybody want me to go over again why we have been asked to consider adopting a basic set of subdivisions and plat regulations?
Can I tell you what I found out about all of that?
If you'll come back to the mic, you sure can.
I've been in touch with Tri-Special to get a lot of the information because their water meters continually go up in price, and to find out things from them. Mainly this is, it started out as a Rosico type project. They've been wanting to develop that corner of 259 and Interstate 30 for a long time. And Tri-Water, you know, we've had a change in regime there because of the fire departments wanting the hydrants out in the county, and when those people were running for office, they were talking about, Tri-Water was talking about the expense for the added lines and all. One of the things that Aaron Gant told me that these regulations are something that the state is trying to push through in order for us to get, or for Tri-Water to get future grant money. So he's stating, you know, for them to get grant money to pay for these larger water lines and these extra water lines that are going to be necessary for all this, the state's trying to push through these regulations. And, you know, it'd be great. I know Austin would love it if every county in Texas had the same regulations. It'd be really great. You could pass out grant money where you wanted to. But, you know, the things that apply in Austin and Dallas and Fort Worth, San Antonio, they don't apply to us out here in the country, and you're going to make it so difficult for developers to come out here and do things, you know, and too expensive, they're not going to do it. And, you know, that's the problem we have. He sent me, Walt sent me a map of the counties in Texas that already have these regulations, and almost, I mean, the majority of them are all along that southern border. And I was told that, you know, they were having, he kept talking about subprime, not subprime, but developments that, you know, weren't up to par. They had a ton of those things happening down there in South Texas, right on the border where all the Hispanics were coming across, and they were doing little dinky subdivisions and weren't following rules and weren't doing things the way properly, and just to throw up housing for those people as they came across the border. And that's not what we're having here, and that's not, you know, we don't have a problem here with those kind of things. So it's like fixing a problem we don't have yet, just so that they can get some grant money to do some water lines for that 259-30 corner there. And I was told it was the Brosico group that was wanting to do this.
Any comments, guys? Have you all read these enough to feel like these are too strong for us, appropriate for Titus County? That's what I need to know from you all. Because
My personal feeling is that they're not. I mean, you know, if you're going to build a subdivision, you know, it's hard to be safe environmentally for everybody that's in the county, I would think. You know, sewer systems and roads and everything.
You feel like they're overly restricted?
Well, you know, I don't know that it's over-restricted. I didn't think it was over-restricted. You know, it pretty much followed the pathway that we've got, the things we've got, you know, and it may be a little stricter on some of them than we've got in our regulations, but I can't see that faults anything.
Well, it's definitely more restrictive. There's a lot more material than we currently have. And Judy, I'll admit to you, I don't look at this with an eye of a developer whose mind is on cost. So I'm a little bit capable of being able to look at this. You know, I can read over a document and say, well, yeah, as long as it doesn't affect me, this is great. So I don't know. So that's why I'm soliciting experts like yourself and the other real estate companies. Hey, please take a look at this. You know, will this positively or negatively impact you? Are you for this? Are you against this? So I'm looking for additional comments, and you're the only one that's brought me any comments.
I have a developer that I work with. I mean, I go out and seek acreage for him to develop. I've been working with him for 15 years. So, I mean, we've done numerous subdivisions here in the county. So, yeah, I know what he's looking for. I know the numbers he's crunching when he's trying to do this.
Are there some changes that we can make to this that would make it less onerous and yet still acceptable? Because, I mean, we have the right to dress this down some and still possibly get it approved.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's something you can start with and work with, yeah.
And there's
It's not good for us the way it is right now.
And there's nothing that says that in the future, if we feel like we've got something here that's too restrictive, that we couldn't revise and modify. I mean, we're not locked into this forever if we find that we've done something that we wish we hadn't done. So, again, there's nobody up here at this table that's trying to push this on anybody. We are here honestly looking for some input and guidance on this. I'd love to be able to help our neighbor, but if it comes at a cost that's too much to bear for our own residents, you know, I'm going to look out for us first.
You said we could change it. Now, if I understood the gentleman last meeting, when he says we need to conform to these regulations in order to get this grant money to develop and pay for the water line and et cetera. So maybe but you say we can change it. If we agree to these, we have to have agreed to, well, he didn't say exactly these, we could make changes. If we agreed to them, we're stuck with them to get the grant, the way I understood it.
In my discussion with him, my understanding was, and I would welcome you to give him a call and ask him that specifically, is if we put this in place and are able to get this initial funding for this additional water line, I'm sure that when the next opportunity came along for grant funding, you know, they're going to again ask for what regulations do we have on file. And at that time, they would review them, and I guess their decision 2-3 years down the road would be based upon what we had in effect at that time. But as I recall, and I asked him that same question, you know, what if we found that we'd made a mistake and this was too restrictive? You know, he said that you could modify that. But again, I'd like you to ask him that and be sasatisfied.
Well, I understood he said we could make some changes to that and
Well, you can make them now initially, and then it's going to be up to whoever he submits this to at the state to look it over and say, yeah, we can live with that. It's not necessarily the exact standard that we put out, but we think the changes that you've made are still going to accomplish our objectives, and we could do that.
why don't we do that first and see if we can get it approved, make with what we've already got, kind of incorporate it into.
We have so little that there's just not much to give him, and it's almost like some.
What we've got though is said, you know, things that we've got in place now are in that
Yeah.
document there.
I'll be glad to
And-
submit to him what we've got, but I can almost assure you they're going to say
Oh, they won't
this
accept
isn't
that,
going
I'm
to cut
sure.
it. Well, again, Judy, I would encourage you to, if you'd like to bring that gentleman back, and maybe he can address the court from a developer standpoint. If there's any other realtors that you could say, hey, please take 20 minutes and read over this and help us modify a document that we can all live with that'll accomplish the objective. And my objective is to have a good set of regulations that helps ensure that we put out a quality product in this county. My objective is not just to bow down to the wishes of Morris County and make sure that they get water, because that doesn't make any sense. This isn't that big of a grant. Yes, I'd like to be able to help them, but I also want to be able to help Titus County.
We went over it with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, he was helping me, with the things that affected him, he felt negative about. So those are the things I marked on my copy, and tried to tell you about. Those are the things. He was off the top of his head, seeing what this could be a problem.
How could I get those comments in a format where I could go back to Walt and say, hey, we would like to eliminate, change, modify this? Could that be done? And let's see what he says.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll be with you.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't belabor this. If there's anything else y'all would like to discuss, fine. Otherwise, I'll put this off at least for another 3 weeks till January the 8th.
Make motion to table it.
Well, it was just a discussion. It wasn't an action item. Thank you for your comments.
Just a discussion.
Item number 10, consider and possibly approve the sale of property that was previously struck off the tax rolls in October of 2013. This is for lots 21 and 22 of the Woodland Estates. And this is, let me read to you what Tim Taylor has prepared for us. Jeff Seaton has offered $2,800 for this property, being $1,400 for each lot. The judgment amount was $3,767.64. The taxable value for both lots is listed as $5,498. So again, the judgment's about $3,800. The taxable value for both lots is listed at $5,500. Property is located off of FM 127 in southwest Titus County and was platted and sold as a subdivision. The only access is by an unfinished platted street. This bid is by one of the adjoining landowners whose family members own most of the lots in the platted subdivision. It appears to be unkempt and wooded. I enclosed plats and documentation for the court's decision. I would request the court to take some action on this offer, either accept or reject. If the county wishes to accept, please advise me and I'll prepare the necessary resolutions. Now, you need to understand this, that Section 34.05 of the Property Tax Code requires consent by all taxing entities when such a sale is for less than the amount of the judgment. So that applies here. So whether or not we approve or reject this, action will have to be taken by the other taxing entities as well before anything can happen. So $2,800 bid on $3,700 judgment on a $5,500 value on the tax rolls anyway. So what would you like to do with that one?
Let me make sure I understand it. If the taxes were $3,700?
That's the back taxes.
Yeah.
That was the judgment amount.
So when they auctioned it off, no one wanted to come up with $3,700?
That's correct, yeah. So it didn't get a bid.
Right.
And that was back a little over a year ago in October of 13.
Make a motion that we accept the $2,800.
Motion by Commissioner Hockaday to accept the $2,800 offer on these two lots.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous.
Judge, what you're doing, you're putting it back on the tax roll, and those taxes will be...
Yeah, and that one's reasonably close. This one may not be as attractive, but let me tell you about it. This is lots 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 in the Swannanoe subdivision of the Hannah Carter survey. I believe this is down in Cason, if memory serves me.
there on Highway 11.
This bid is for less than the amount of the judgment, which led to sheriff's sale to the county, and also less than the listed appraised value. Once again, this requires consent by all taxing entities. Therefore, before the sale becomes final, if the sale is approved by the court, the consent of the other taxing entities of the county is necessary. We have an offer of $5,000 from Kenneth Wilson on this property. The judgment amount was $30,663, and the taxable value for this property is listed at $24,471. This property is located off Highway 11 in southeast Titus County and was platted and sold as a subdivision. It appears to be unkempt and wooded. The total acreage involved is 9.5 acres in 2 tracts. There's a structure on one of the lots that's been maintained as a church, but it was constructed on the wrong lot and has been there for many years. It appears to be vacant now. I enclose plats and documentation for the court's consideration. If you would like to see those. One more time, a bid of $5,000, judgment of $31,000, and taxable value of $24,500.
So in other words, when they auctioned it, they had the minimum bid of $30,000, and no one bid that much. But now somebody come along and made an offer.
Yeah, and he'll bring us an offer anytime that somebody
Sure.
does make an offer. And I don't know that, if there had been an offer at that auction, I would think that he would tell us about it. So it's not uncommon for there to be no offers whatsoever.
Yeah, because the minimum is so high, $30,000 minimum, and you start off at an auction, $30,000. No one bid that much, but they might have bid $20,000.
I think they can bid what they want to.
Yeah, they can bid what they want to. He doesn't say the bidding starts at $30,663.
Taxes that are owed on it.
So but even then, he would have had to come to the counties and to the taxing entities. Let's say he did get a $20,000 bid, then he would have had to get our consent for that if he had gotten a bid at that auction.
Okay.
Judge, unless that's changed, he has to go for whatever it costs the county, the court cost, and the taxes. He has to get a bid for that, and then if you wait 6 months after that, then you can offer anything.
So at the auction, he would have told them, here's the outstanding debt. I will not listen to anything less than $30,600.
The law, as I know it, and it could have changed, you got to try to get that, and then 6 months after that, then someone can.
So even if somebody had offered $20,000, he would have said, don't waste my time. I can't do that. Okay, so he has to wait a certain amount of time.
That's what well, so this may not be a good deal. Be a good deal for the offerer, not for the county.
Don't they run this in the paper
Whenever
afterwards
Sale, yes.
that did not sell?
But
You won't make it where you can.
you can look on the tax rolls and find a property that has back taxes. Or you go in there and you look under the city of Mount Pleasant or Titus County, it's owning this property, and it'll tell you that it just depends on who it's struck off to, or off to is will not compute it.
So however Mr. Wilson got this information, that's open to the public. And it can't hurt just to make an offer, and so that's what he's doing. So tonight we either need to accept or reject. Give Philip a moment to change his tape.
It's not landlocked or anything, it's on Highway 11.
So that's my understanding. It's down at the end of 1735 somewhere, right in there. That's where I think it is.
So it's not low lying or?
Don't know.
Don't know.
The tax rolls was value of the tax, $24,471,
Right.
and the back tax is $30,000.
I think it's in the Dangerfield School District too, is it not?
It might be in Chapel Hill. Right there at the corner there, it should be in Chapel Hill.
Dangerfield.
Yes, sir.
power plants in Dangerfield, it comes
Fred?
over to there, doesn't it?
It is Dangerfield ISD. I can see, here's the tax statement.
I can see pretty well by just seeing the people in the room. It's probably something that needs to be tabled and then looked at the property itself to see, because that appears that somebody's trying to get it for nothing. When you look at it, that's just barely over 500 an acre. Looks like to me they need to know what condition, what the land is exactly before we accept any little bitty bid on it. I mean, if there's that much discrepancy, that's like a seventh of it. Looks like to me tabling it and then having the commissioners or whatever review, look at it and see the condition of the land and the value of it would be the best for the county.
Most of the time, Judge, and I don't know why Tim's not here tonight, but he's not here, but he usually comes and says, we've tried to, explains to us, we've offered this, we put it in the paper, nobody, this guy's the only one that's come to us about it. And I agree with Fred on this. The evaluation of $24,004, of course, that puts it back on the tax roll, and that says they will do it, but $5,000 is pretty cheap too. I'd like to hear either what Tim has to say or
I think Tim's out of town.
he's out of town, okay. But we can table that one till next meeting.
Why don't we,
Second.
I'm going to make a motion that we reject this offer. I don't see any problem with rejecting this. If
Reject-
somebody will pay
okay.
5, they might
I'll
pay
second
6.
I'll second it.
Okay, I got a motion and a second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of rejecting this $5,000 offer, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 12, consider and possibly approve a resolution to add optional workers' compensation coverage for election workers. I apologize that I'm bringing this back up, but after Christie brought to my attention the dollars we were talking about here, and Sue, I'll be glad to let you talk about this, but let me tell you the dollars we're talking about. As you'll recall, at the last meeting, we approved covering jurors, but we opted not to cover election workers. Let me tell you the dollars we're talking about. Last year, in workers' compensation premiums, we paid $101 for election workers, and we paid $33 for jurors. So that's the kind of dollars we're talking about for a year's worth of coverage. I thought when I found that out, gosh, if I've got election workers traveling the roads the night of the election, you know, just to cover them in the case of an automobile accident, it's worth $100.
Yeah, one of them falls over and while they're working for us and breaks a hip here. And we've already gone through that with the chair.
Would you like to come on up, Sue?
Yeah, it's been a long while since I've dealt with workers' compensation in another life, but when I saw that on the agenda, I was really concerned, and I, quite frankly, don't remember the vote when you were talking about covering jurors, so I don't know the rationale behind all that. But this is what I do know. I know workers' compensation basically takes care of two things. It takes care of medical bills if you're hurt on the job, and it takes care of disability. Those are the things. But the qualification is to be an employee of the county. I don't see jurors, for that matter, or even election workers being employees of the county. So why do I say that? Do we send them tax statements at the end of the year? You know, 1099s, do we?
Yep.
To the election workers or to the jurors? To the election workers? And we do W-2s on them.
They don't have to pay payroll taxes unless it runs more than $2,200, but we have to send them W-2.
Okay, do we deduct that from their paychecks? Do we deduct FICA or Social Security? I'm sorry?
The county hasn't paid it.
The county pays it all, so they don't get that deduction in their paychecks. Really?
The reason they don't is because it's $1,200. It's a very funny rule on election workers.
Yeah.
The first $1,200 that you pay them, you don't have to pay any social security tax. So if I had an election worker that came out and worked an election in March, they might have to pay $300. But if we have a runoff,
Is this strictly like in Texas? Because, I mean, as far as I was concerned, when I worked with this kind of stuff, a limited amount, I mean, it wouldn't even qualify for a regular part-time employee.
no, it's not.
You know? I mean, if you hired somebody to work strictly on weekends all year long. But here we're looking at hiring, people to take care of an election every 2 years. And yet we're going to look at it at workers' compensate, I presume, for medical bills, because it wouldn't even classify for disability. I mean, that wouldn't even make sense. They're not making enough money to do that.
We don't cover that.
Right.
Yes, we do have to.
And then I am concerned about what does it do, in terms of the rest of that risk pool that we have. Does it rate, if we have an election worker who's hurt in a job, I mean, it's just even hard for me to talk about it that way. But if somebody is hurt on the job, is that going to affect the rest of our premiums on the entire county employee risk pool? For a person that's working one day?
I guess the only thing that I could say is that our risk pool is pretty much statewide, but it's with Texas Association of Counties, so we're very interested.
We're in there with all the state employees, are we not? I mean, all
And then
the county
the
employees.
other thing I know that goes along with workers' compensation, I mean, if they for some reason die when they're on the job, do they qualify then for life insurance benefits as well, which is part of workers' compensation often? And that would be very strange to me if we would, I mean, what are the percentages? And yet that is part of the equation when you're talking about workers' compensation. So I guess I just feel like this is money wasted in my mind.
It's, the thing, we have a liability policy. We have a nice premium on it, and that takes care of most all of that kind of stuff. And I don't see why we would want to do it again. I don't know if it would cover.
I know this, if I would feel, if I had people going out working the elections for me, and they got hurt, walking out of the school or the church or wherever, that slipped on the field, and they were doing that work for us. I think that'd be the county's place or the insurance of the county's place to cover that. They wouldn't have been there except they were working for us.
Well, that's what I think too. So I don't think that.
I don't know what those other liability policies cover that or not cover that. Just when Christie was nursing back with the PAC people, they told her what the premium amount would be.
Well, of course, I
Let's
don't.
make a decision on this. $101 for optional election workers coverage.
One more point, you're talking about election once every 2 years, because in the primaries, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party share those expenses. So that throws another little strange caveat into it. They are not employees of the county during the primary.
You reimburse us, but we have to pay them.
No, they don't. You never paid the Republican workers. No, I did.
Anybody ready to make a motion?
I make a motion, we don't pay it.
Got a motion by Commissioner Riddle to decline optional coverage for election workers.
Say that again, they were told.
He's
Declining it.
making a motion that we decline. Yeah. Yes, sir.
You have to flip the switch.
Should have left it here.
First off,
Workers' compensation coverage is a unique type of coverage. It's cheap for certain classes and it's expensive for certain classes, and it's paid based on what the actual payroll is.
Let me ask you
So
though.
we've got all kinds of liability coverage, yes.
Yeah, but the jury, aren't they serving their county basically as a volunteer? They're not employees. If we come up here, if we fall down, I'm sure there's some insurance that they've got or it will be taken care of. But you're talking about, this is going to be unreal when you're talking about what somebody might get picked every 7 years or something on it. Or the election workers, do they get paid straight out of the county and have Social Security or income tax taken out of their checks? They're volunteers, aren't they? That would be my thinking. Why?
Because it's the law.
Civic-minded people should want to do that for the county.
We don't get 1099s.
I can tell you, I fish too, so I'm gonna show you.
I've never received one, and I work every election and have for years and years and years.
Well, I've got them, I had 2 IRS audits, and they told us.
You've never given me one.
You get a check from us?
From them on the primaries. and-
Yeah, that's the difference, is it's Republican versus Democrat. No? The primaries you pay for.
The general election in November, but you've never.
How much money did
We don't ever make $600.
Okay. Let's reel this back in. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Harkrider and let him wrap up.
I don't understand why anybody,
That's not the same.
that's civic-minded on a person's part. I'd be glad to do it. Most people in this county would be glad to do it for free because you're helping the taxpayers when you do that. Why should they get paid to do something that they should want to help the county in the election process, just like why should we cover?
I don't know the answer.
If I was on the jury every week, what difference does it make? I shouldn't be covered. That's part of my civic duty.
I have
We
a,
got to pay everybody just to blow their nose or what have we got to do? I mean, people should be civic-minded and trying to save the taxpayers' money.
but they're not, that's right.
Well, I know they're not, and it's sad that they're not.
Okay, I have a motion here by Commissioner Riddle that we not pay for the optional work comp coverage on election workers. I'm going to go ahead and second that. All those in favor of declining the optional coverage on the election workers, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, right now we've got 2 against and 1 for and a couple of blanks.
Couple of blanks.
Couple of blanks.
Couple of blanks so far.
We're pretty blank.
Yeah.
I'm going to abstain.
You know, obviously, it's not a big decision about the money. What are the ramifications of failure to have this coverage and not? I personally don't think there's a lot
I just know
of...
one thing, when the guy fell over in the courtroom over there and broke the seat that they talked about, the judges, it cost us a whole lot of money for his doctor bills.
Was he a juror, or was he just in the
I
audience?
think he was,
Oh, yes.
was a,
Workman's comp wouldn't have paid it. It cost us through our liability policy.
Well, he's just saying that was just a fluke accident that occurred, and a fluke accident could occur here. And if you've got coverage as a liability policy, we've got some larger, deductibles, I would imagine, in case like that.
witness, if I remember right.
Witness?
I think so, and he was sitting out there, and the seat broke.
Okay.
You remember that, don't you, Mike?
Well, anyway, we've got two nays, 1 aye. What would you two gents like to do?
I said abstain.
Is there a question between liability insurance for a public building and workers' comp? Is that what you're talking about, Mr. Hockaday? Because there is a distinction distinction between the two.
Sure, I understand that, but, and I don't remember all the details about that. The only thing I remember is the guy sat in a seat and it broke. And he fell and they had to come get him in the ambulance, and it cost us quite a bit of money for that.
Is that you got it out of liability insurance, correct?
Well, now, it cost the county some. Now, I don't remember how much the liability on that was, but it cost out of the county pocket some, I don't remember how much, but some amount.
Workers' compensation is
I don't know.
Was that an abstaining vote, Judge?
He's still thinking.
No, you abstained. He said abstain.
He said abstain.
Okay, you abstain? Okay. Commissioner Hinton, what's it going to be? A lot of pressure.
Yes, a lot of pressure. I'm good at pressure. I'm going to go with it.
Okay, you would like to have the coverage?
Yes.
Okay, we've got a 2-2. Would you all like for me to get some additional information for you to make this an easier decision?
Well, I've run a business for all my life, and workman's comp, from what I understand about workman's comp, would very rarely, extremely rare, ever apply to an election worker or a juror, and it would be just absolutely...
And that's why it's $100 a year.
Well, that's right, and if it's not our money, but we could spend it, it's not our money, just go ahead. I don't think we ought to spend it because it's not our money. And it's our obligation to take care of the county's money, and we're certainly not doing it if we just waste it because it's a small amount. Just an opinion,
Brian, it's not the money to me. It is the ramifications of precedent that it sets. So what if you have a casual labor that's going to do landscaping for one day and gets hurt on the job? Is the county then going to be liable because he...
No, because our landscaper has his own work comp. That's why we're not liable.
I'm trying to think of the parameters here.
Because contract labor does not fall under workman's comp.
Sure it does.
I've never gotten it.
It's a funny definition, that's for sure. Contract labor could be regularly part-time.
Is there some information in here worth reading? It doesn't really address this point about...
No, it's just that question about the election.
Okay, we've got a tie here.
Let me say something I want to say, Judge. We was talking a while ago about the elections, and the Republicans pay theirs and the Democrats pay theirs. What you do, you collect a fee from anybody running for a public office. There's not enough money there to cover the election. You send what is owed to the attorney, I think it's the Attorney General's office in the state of Texas, pays that.
It's the Secretary of State.
Or Secretary of State, but it comes from the state.
It doesn't come from the county.
No, that's in the primary. Now, these elections, I'm trying to think, Thomas, back there, it seemed like we tried to hold elections. We couldn't find enough people to even work the elections years ago, and maybe it might have changed now. I don't know. But we pay these election workers, and they come up and they have to go to school, they have to get the training, and you've been there, you've done that, both of y'all. And you go up there, you don't have to take that money if you don't want to, I guess. You can just tell them you're doing it free. But to encourage a lot of people, that supplements their income a little bit. The time they have to spend, you have a lot of elections. That's a lot of work to do. And before this was combined, you had the city, the college, the water board, all this, they hold their elections. And it just rewards the people that go and help hold the election. And I just feel like that for $101, if they're walking out of a building and they slip and fall, I don't have a problem helping them with the workman's comp and stuff. They're there, they don't have to be there.
And that's exactly what your public buildings liability insurance will do.
Danny,
Even if you
Come on
have
up.
workman's comp, you will pay that.
I'm going to recognize Danny Clark.
Maybe I can offer a sensible solution to this, since it's a tie vote, and Commissioner Hockaday did the right thing about abstaining. Why don't we just table this until the new commissioner is seated next meeting, and let's go with this again? Would that make more sense?
Yeah, and that's my plan. I thank you for doing that. And I'll get some additional information from TAC, and maybe he can bring shed some light on this that we're not thinking about.
The real thing is, Judge, if you have a liability policy that's already covered, there's no sense in spending all this extra money. But I ask you to table this and seek the new commissioner then.
All right, I'll make that motion. Let's table the issue regarding optional workers' compensation coverage.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, we're going to move on now unless there's... All right, let's wrap it up, please. Item number 13, consider and possibly approve travel and seminars. I've got several here. Paul Lindsay, attorney, county attorney's investigator, would like to attend investigator school in Galveston in February. $350 for registration, $220 for per diem, $546 for hotel. This is February 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a whole week. He'll take his personal vehicle down and pay him mileage. Total cost on that, $1,467.90. Next one is Commissioner Jimmy Parker would like to attend seminar for newly elected judges and commissioners in Austin, January 13, 14, 15, 16. He will need $395 for registration, $617.55 for hotel, $364 for mileage, bringing the grand total of $1,457.10. Carl Johnson and his staff, Christy and Sharon, would like to attend, what is TACA? On-the-road training provided by TACA in Rockwall on the 15th and the 16th. They'll travel over on the 14th, so we've got $80 per diem for each, $277.98 for Carl's hotel room and the girls' hotel room, $277 each, and then carpooling together with a total of $115 for mileage. So again, $80 per diem, $277.98 twice, and $115 for mileage. Is there any training fee for this one? Carl, is there a registration fee on that? On that on-the-road training that you know of? Okay. That was, and those are optional training. Back on Paul Lindsay, that was mandatory training, as well as Jimmy Parker's mandatory training. So you got 5 there. Paul Lindsay, Jimmy Parker, and then Carl and his staff of 2.
Make a motion to approve travel.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton to approve travel. All in favor, or second? By Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Item number 14, approve oral and written reports.
Carl?
Stay with me. Stay with me.
Kick him just a little bit, would you? Just kind of kick him on the shin.
motion to approve reports.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of accepting and approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 15, approve treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve treasurer's report.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields for approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 16, approve budget amendments.
Judge, we have three. First one is number 4 for the current year. It's going to be line item changes in the loop project based on the last invoice we received. Just moves money around between the lines.
No new money.
No new money. And then these other two are, I think the last two for last year. One is number 73 is for a stop loss reimbursement we received about 2 weeks ago, but the reimbursement was for medical claims prior to September 30th for $110,517. So we received the money now, but I put it back in the books for last year because that's where it belongs.
That's a revenue.
That's a revenue. And the other one's a revenue too. It's a reimbursement from the DDC fund to cover part of the JP1 part-time salaries. $2,600. It's a revenue line.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendments.
Motion by Commissioner Hockaday for approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of approving those three budget amendments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I oppose. I don't know what they are. I'd like to see these things. I've asked for them, what we approve, and I guess it's impossible for me to look at them until we come up here at court.
No, you can look at it right now.
Oh, yeah, well, hell, I don't want to look at it right now.
You don't need foul language over something this simple. What can we do to make this more accessible for him?
I don't know why I couldn't have looked at it yesterday.
Yeah.
Why I couldn't have looked at it Friday, or I don't know why.
What would you suggest as an alternative?
I'll try to have them written up in there with your room for you to look at.
You have in the past, and I've looked at
Well, I
them.
think those two are just written up like Christie is.
I didn't see them, so I don't want to vote on them.
Okay. That passes 4-1. Item 17, sign pay orders and approve payments.
Make a motion to pay our bills.
Motion by Commissioner Hockaday,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And there are none. All right. Item number 18, closing comments by county judge and commissioners, if any. I'll start on my far right. Commissioner Riddle.
I would like to say that I've been here 2 years. I've observed this court most of the year before I become a commissioner, and I can say that one of the saddest things I can think about is to see Thomas Hockaday go. I've watched him, I've talked to him. Whatever he tells you, he's a man of his word. I don't agree with him very much, but I love the fact that I know what he told me today, he'll tell me the same thing 2 weeks from now. And I can't say that from everybody else on this commissioner's court. And I appreciate it.
All right.
The only thing I have to say, Judge, is, Thomas, I've known you for a long time.
They're gonna make me cry.
You're a good man. You're a good man, and I know through the years we've had some tough decisions to be made, but there's no doubt in my mind this county is a better county because Thomas has been a commissioner. A lot of things have been accomplished. and I want to wish you and everybody the very best. And don't forget us. Come see us every now and then, but we wish you the very best, and just go and do things.
Commissioner Hinton.
I'd just like to say it's been an honor and privilege to sit next to you on this court.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoyed working with you.
Thank you. And I'd like to say that I've been a taxpayer before I was a commissioner. Every time I made a decision, I always considered myself being out there as a taxpayer. And I've enjoyed y'all, and I've enjoyed this job. And I appreciate the people in Titus County, the voters and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. And for those of you that weren't there Friday, we did have a little celebration at the annex on Friday afternoon and had a plaque presentation for both Diane and for Thomas. And so we're plaqueless tonight, but they did go home with their plaques on Friday. And I'll wrap it up, and I'll just say, you don't stay in office as long as you stayed in office without making your constituents happy. And it's obvious that you have done that, and it's been great to serve with you. It's been an honor to serve with you, and I'll probably continue to tap into you as a source of information for stuff that I don't know much about that I know you will know the answer to. So this court wishes you the best of luck, and just whatever you pursue from here on out. I know you're not going to sit around, but I hope that it's productive for you and enjoyable.
I'm going to do whatever Ray tells me to do.
Well, that's not a bad option. I think he means it.
You got it.
All right, I've just got a couple other minor things that are much less important than saying thanks to Thomas. I will be conducting interviews tomorrow for our position for a janitor. If anybody would like to join me here tomorrow, I'll get started at 2 o'clock. I think I've got 10 tomorrow.
You got some
1:30.
applications handy?
1:30. Yeah, I've got 10 of them.
And I said, if you got some applications handy.
Oh, I'll get you a blank in here. Let's see. I have heard back. If you'll recall, 2 weeks ago we talked about getting a deal worked out with Titus Regional Medical Center on providing mammograms. I've still not got anything firm, but I have made the contact with Terry Scoggin there, and he is looking into this, and he is going to notify me as soon as he's ready to discuss that issue. TxDOT's going to be resurfacing I-30. I got a notice about that. Let me tell you what they say. I-30 to be resurfaced in Titus, Morris, and Bowie counties. 45 miles of some repair of old pavement, and then the entire roadway will be repaved. In addition to paving work, bridge railing and metal beam guard fence will be placed throughout the interstate in all 3 counties. R.K. Hall's going to do the work. $33.9 million. We expect the work to begin in February and take about 2.5 years to complete. So it looks like we'll be getting some nice resurfaced interstate that goes all the way through our county. Swearing-in ceremony, the 29th. That is Monday at 10 a.m. in the district courtroom. So Monday, 29th at 10 a.m. And that is all we've got. We'll bring it to a close unless there's anybody else. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
There it is. Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hockaday and second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Good evening. Thanks, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas.